Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Just when you think nothing's coming together, sister, it'll all come together. Promise you this. Let me share something really special with you. So it is, what is today? Oh, goodness gracious. It is Tuesday today as I record this podcast. Over the weekend, I just got back yesterday on Monday from Phoenix, and I spoke at an amazing conference called Meltdown in the Desert. Social media, entrepreneurship, marketing, heart. Big piece of that. People sharing their story. People who are incredibly successful, people who are creating a message, creating a movement, impacting people. It was incredible. I have so many things to share about it. And so here's the first one I want to share with you in this episode then today. A year ago, so as I'm preparing, let me actually take a step back first. Present moment then. So on Saturday, as I'm preparing in the morning, and I've been preparing for, I've been kind of mulling it in my head for a little bit of time. I was like, what's the story I'm really going to tell? I had 20 minutes and that was 30 minutes. And I'm like, what's the story that's really going to impact? And on top of that, I know that the majority of the audience is men. So, going deep into motherhood and that kind of stuff, I'm like, that's not going to be it. So what is the story I really have to tell? What are the lessons that I've learned from that? And as you know, in this podcast, I talk a lot about power. Right? How to create that power in your body, how to create your marriage, how to create it with your business, how to create it with your family as your parent. And so I'm like, what part of my story can I really talk about? And we'll see. I know I'm going to get a video of the talk, so we'll see if maybe I'll put it up on the Women Wanting More Facebook page when I get that at some point. But regardless, I will share with you this. A year ago, I sat on the beach in Laguna with my coach Satema at one of our group masterminds. And so June of 2016. And I remember having a very vivid conversation with him about, I've created this Women Wanting More. The podcasts have been out now for, 10 months, like not even a year. Kind of had like a big surge and stuff, and then women that wanted to coach. And there was a lot that had been like following me for a while. So suddenly I had something to offer, like some kind of a program, and it was all the people that were kind of waiting, right? And you might be one of them. Just like, oh my God, like I want this, right? This is amazing. But then what tends to happen is that then as those kind of people in the world of marketing, we would call those hot leads, warm leads, kind of start to like go through. And so what was happening to me at 10 months in was like, I wasn't having that same like boom, like response anymore. And I was getting frustrated. I didn't quite understand it. So I remember my coach Satema sitting down and saying, listen, we got to really start looking into what's referred to. If you're not a business person, you're going to get a little business education today, cold traffic. Okay, people that don't know who you are. You don't have a problem that, that you're going to solve. Like they're just like a brand new person that has zero connection to you. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're about. Like nothing. He's like, listen, we're going to start to now like really begin to market to cold traffic. You're going to start to produce value and content, information for them so they can kind of get to know who you are. But you got to really know what your message is. And I was struggling with that. Now you might kind of go like, what are you talking about, Karen? Like, listen to podcasts. Like, I get that, right? But for the other women, also have a lot of men that follow me in this message that don't know me, I can't just kind of come in like halfway in the story, right? Like they don't have any context. Like, who's this chick? So I remember really struggling. I remember saying like, well, I've, could talk about my experience with my husband, went through Crohn's disease and surgery and what that was like for me. And, what are the lessons from that? And like, what is there that's in that for somebody else to see? Like, they don't have to go through the experience of being the wife that a husband that has Crohn's, that went through emergency surgery with a young son, like all that kind of stuff. But there's something that is there for them to see in it. So I shot a video and it had a good response, and I kind of stumbling a bit. But here's what I want to share with you, and this is why this is important for you to hear right now. A year ago, I'm like, it was like, it just felt like pushing a boulder up the fucking hill. I'm just like, I can't get it. Like, what is it? Like, oh, this is trying to get there. And I realized a year later, as I'm preparing to hit that stage, I'm like, I'm sharing my story now. Like, I'm really sharing my story. Really sharing it. And I realized through all this, sister, how much of a fighter that I am. Might be a big piece of why boxing is such a big part of my life right now. And I gave lots of boxing analogies to talk about all the jabs that I got in life, things that have happened. The one thing that really knocked us out, my husband had emergency surgery, and the 3 power lessons that really came out of that experience. And what was incredible was this. So although I'm in a group of mostly men, and might go like, well, what do they know the experience of like a wife and, you know, mother, like all this kind of stuff. Touched a little bit on infertility and how we adopt our 2 boys, and the ability I had to impact that room of probably like about 125, 150 people was incredible. And my story mattered. And as I spoke to all the people that came up to me, not just after I finished speaking, it was a 2-day event. So I went on just after lunch on the first and the Saturday. Like so many afterwards, so many like conversations in the hall, and then went out to dinner, and like the next morning, like it just continued, Facebook messages, and it's still continuing, right? Even after the event ended 2 days ago, and I'm sure it still will. It was that much of a special, the whole event was amazing, the speakers and everybody there. And so here's what I want you to hear in this message. You think, because this is the biggest thing I said to them, I'm like, I don't really have like a story. Like, I wasn't like, I was a former drug dealer and then I went to, like I know people who've just like been through insane shit. I'm like, well, that's not me. I'm not interesting. Like, what is it about me that, why would people want to hear that shit? Like, who cares? And what I realized is I'm going to hit that stage, or a few hours prior as I'm kind of last minute preparation, just kind of putting my mind in that place, like seeing the outcome that I want, really visualizing all that, really getting into that like very pure sense of power, state of power, was that I was doing the thing that I didn't think was really possible. I'm like, holy shit, a year ago, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I don't know what the fuck my story is. Like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh my God. So here's some of the things I learned. Number 1, patience, sister. Patience. You don't have to know it right away. Patience. Number 2, like trust. I don't mean like trust the process like it's some flippant bullshit meme you put up. I mean like really understanding trust. Really understanding trust. And number 3 is this: your ability to create the life that you fucking want by sharing who you are is significant. It's significant. And your story matters. And so does the next person, and the next, and the next. And you think it might not be important enough, as I did a year ago. You might think that it's not interesting. But I'm telling you, we are designed to be here on this planet to share our stories and share who we truly are and make that impact on people. Stories. Here I got a UPS guy. We're going to involve the UPS guy right now in this. How about that? Let's make this a little bit of a crazy episode here today. But stories. Your stories matter, sister. Your stories matter. Good morning. Do you need an autograph?
Hey, yeah, there's a charge on this one as well.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so I couldn't actually include the UPS guy because I had to give him some money. Okay, so finish up this. More tip for today's sister. I want you to sit down and write your story. Sit down and write your story. Who are you? Where have you come from? What are the lessons you've extracted from that? I don't know what you're going to do with that story. It may be something you share, it may be not, but if anything, it is for you to see that your story fucking matters. And just like there's so many women inside the sisterhood that are sharing their story and having an impact and being part of this powerful group of women that are committed to more and committed to power within their life, committed to being accountable and holding each other accountable, committed to actually doing the fucking work to get the things they want within their life, you can have that too. So, because you listen to this podcast, my gift to you is a 7-day free trial. This is my gift. There's no fucking excuses. None. And so here's what you do right now. Head over to drkarenosborne.com/sisterhood and you'll get started with your free trial today, and I will see you inside the sisterhood. So I will talk then on the next episode. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.